it going today? My name is Tex, and this is Tex Talks. Today's subject is going to be about being bossy. Don't know how else to put it. Nice ways telling people to do when you don't have the specific job, right, or permission to tell people what to do. Where does this come from and what's going on? And I'm going to cover several aspects of it: the giving advice aspect, the for your own good aspect, or I just want aspect. There's lots of things that go into this when we tend to basically be bossy and tell other people what to do, even when they don't want to do it. Sometimes this is in a nice fashion, like you will want something. Like you'll want someone to have a bite of your dessert that you made. It's a good example. Or, their company. And I know there's the Southern thing about, offering somebody something to drink. And if they say no, you offer them a second time. And if they still say no, then you tell them, well, I'm going to get me one. It won't be no trouble. There's a lot of rules in certain cultures that you have to be observant of. So I want to make sure that first that I'm putting this from a basic no culture standpoint, and that there can be, some areas where it would be rude not to do these things, and people know that and accept it in that environment. Okay. Like I said, if you really truly are a Southerner, this idea of, offering more than once is just it's the way people do things. Being observant, though, are other people in your culture? Are you in your culture when you're doing the things you do about insisting that others accept or, take something, or that they do the things you want them to do? And this gets into that whole area of advice of what's good for somebody. Oh, I was just trying to help. I'm just telling them what's good for them. I've talked about it before, and I'll say it one more time because this keeps coming up. Unsolicited advice. That means advice that was not asked for, that you have no contract. It is not your job to give them advice. Unsolicited advice always comes across as contentious. In other words, people feel you're telling them what to do. And most of the time, they don't like it. They're not going to do it. People say, well, what about if the advice is, asked for? And I'm like, so that means you have permission to give the advice. There's no guarantee that they'll take it. And again, people get upset when someone doesn't take their advice. If you're upset that someone does not take your advice, then ask yourself what you're upset about. It sounds like you're upset because your ego got popped, that you felt the other person should do what you tell them to do because they ask for advice. They're not saying, tell me what I must do and I will do it. They're saying, give me advice. I would hope that they're going to take your advice, think about it, rattle it around, see if it fits or works for them, and then make a decision whether or not to do or not do what you advise doing. To me, that would mean that they're intelligent. They're not just gullible. They don't just do what they're told. And they don't just follow you around very sheepishly and do whatever you say, but where are you going to steer me today? No. So don't get so dang upset when people don't take your advice, even if it's been asked for. They're just asking you to give me some options to think about. Okay? It's no different than when you're in the therapy session with me. I ask for permission, or if you ask me straight up for my advice and I give it, I know that you're going to think about it. You may or may not take it. I don't take it personally if you don't. That's a you thing. That's why I'm very cautious about giving advice, especially if I don't have lots of background and detail and information. I also know and understand I don't have to live with the consequences of what you do. You have to live with the consequences. Yes, I may be involved in some form or fashion, but overall, if someone asks you, should I stay with this person or break up with them? They're the ones that have fallout of breaking up the relationship or staying with the relationship. You should also know that sometimes people ask you advice as a trap. So don't be so quick to give it. They'll ask you for advice. What they're asking you for actually is you and 15 other people is tell me what to do. And the one that agrees with what I want to do anyway, I'm going to do that. And then I can blame you if it goes wrong. In other words, they'll ask you, oh, do you agree that I should buy this thing? And if you say yes, they go out and buy it. They wanted to anyway. They were going to do it anyway. And then when they buy it and they get in trouble, they come back to you and go, well, you told me to do it. It's your fault. Really? Aside from that, though, there's also just the normal day-to-day thing. When you're a host, the idea is to be gracious. And most people don't really quite dig in and find out what does it mean to be gracious. Because being gracious means thoughtfully courteous and compassionate. Thoughtfully. When you think about things and you give it some thought, in other words, you offer something to someone, you're being nice to someone, you're also able to pull out and think about it from their point of view. You're not being gracious when you want something and you try to force people to do what you would want. That's being controlling. You first find out what they like, or if you know the person very well, you might be able to take a guess. And then you offer something that might be within the realm of what they would like, not just because you want it. So when you're out in public or somewhere and you insist people do things with you, like, oh, you ask someone, would you like to join us for dinner? And they say, no, thank you. Where I come from and from what I figured out in my world, courteous would be like, well, you are invited and we would love to have you if you would like to come. Notice how that's an open invitation with no insistence, letting the person know that the offer was not given just because it was, for the sake of giving it, but you really are welcome. And that's different than telling the person, oh, no, no, come on. You grab them by the arm, you drag them in there, and they're going, no, no, I really don't want to come. No, 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 you really should. They're saying no. In fact, listening to what other people tell you when they say no, they say no. It's amazing. No means no until it's you telling somebody to do something, and then you want to ignore their no. No means no. So when you tell somebody, oh, here, have a drink with me, eat something with me, come to this place, do this thing, join us, whatever, and they don't want to, maybe they have a reason and they don't need to tell you what their reason is. They don't need to explain to you. They don't owe you anything. They said no. Take the no as a no and shush. That's all. Just say thank you. If you change your mind, here we are. That way the invitation is open. There's no insistence, no pressure. And people will often tell me, well, it was just for their own good. I thought it was best for them. I thought they were just, trying to be, good mannered and not take the offer, but I wanted them to take it anyway. And it's, all right, we're all getting back to what you want. And I thought the whole idea of you being gracious was you as being thoughtfully kind, compassionate to another person, courteous to another person. If you're not going to do that, say it's what I want. And I don't give a damn what you want. That's why I'm trying to drag you in here. Oh, that would be too honest, wouldn't it? So think about it. Give it, give it some honest effort. See where it takes you, what you get out of it. Think about why you're insisting the other person do it. Think about how you feel when people insist on telling you what to do, giving you advice, insist on you doing things they say you should do or they want you to do. All right. Hope that helps a little bit. I know it's going to be tough. Some people are going to have some feathers ruffled because they like to do that. They like to tell people what to do and they feel that they know best and that they should be in charge. And then they wonder why people avoid them or talk about them behind their back or, you know, run from them when they see them coming down the sidewalk or in the office. There's a reason. Ask yourself why you do what you do. Give yourself honest answers, and don't just say things that you don't mean, like, oh, I was just doing it to help. My next question is, and in what way did you think it would help? And in what way did you have permission to help? Yes, that's right. Unless it's life-threatening, you need permission before you help people. Why do you think doctors get you to sign paperwork? Hospital admissions have you sign paperwork. Hell, before you come see me and talk to me, I'm going to make you sign paperwork that you're here and I have permission to do therapy. That's right. You sign a piece of paper saying, I have permission to do therapy with you. And in my session, I will often ask you, gather information, what do you want? And then before I tell you anything, I'll ask you what you've tried. When it boils down, if I really hear something, I'll go, well, do you mind if, I give you my thoughts? And I've talked about this before. I think even in the last video, there's a reason for that, is to get permission, because then you're more likely to have the other person buy into it. So if you really think what you have to say will help a person, think about how you present it. Good chef will tell you it's not just about the food outcome, it's about the presentation. So it works the same way with advice. It's about the presentation. Make it appetizing, palatable. All right. Hope y'all have an awesome day, and I will talk to you later. Namaste.